Good morning. I'm Todd.
And Julie.
Welcome to Chrisley Confessions 2.0. We're back. So let's continue our conversations on the recapping of these episodes. Now, folks, the reason that I go to her and say, give me the recap is because I don't sit and watch them.
Right.
You do.
Yes.
And I don't know, I'm still trying to process psychologically why I refuse to watch.
Right.
I think you're probably braver than I am at this point.
Right.
I think that I know what I can take and what I can't take. We were not here for these episodes to be filmed. We know the place that Chase and Savannah had been for many, many, many months, if not really about a year and a half of them fighting back and forth. I just don't think that I am at a place emotionally to where I can sit and watch that without it literally tearing me apart.
Right.
So I commend you.
So for me, I want to see it, because as we've said, my communication with them was much more limited than yours.
She's throwing shade.
For reasons. So it does give me a little bit better insight as to where they were and how they were feeling about certain things, because I think it helps to be able to heal. Mm-hmm. Helps me to be able to help them to heal, to see those things. And Savannah, she would give me snippets of what she was working on, but not this in-depth blow by blow.
Because I think she didn't want to disappoint. She didn't want to disappoint you,
right?
Because she would tell me, right. I tell Mom very little because she is not in a place to where I feel like she can handle what you can handle, Dad. So I tell you everything. I give her what I believe that she can process, and it's not going to run her crazy.
And that's what they think. And then I'm the one over here that did the hard time. They
oh
think
my
I'm the
God!
weak one.
Because I got Culver's. Get off the cross. We need the wood.
Yeah. Okay. Well, not just that. There was a lot of other things. I did way
Culver's,
harder
Walmart,
time.
McDonald's, pizza. What else do you want? Walmart.
Air.
Huh?
Air conditioning.
Oh, it's like you resent that I had air conditioning.
I do resent it. And the fact that I went 52 days in transit, which was a whole nother situation. But I'm not.
She's not bitter at all.
Not bitter at all.
So tell me what you got out of this latest episode. Because you said that the production company is putting up documents now and whatever.
Well, yes. So I think that's going to be at the very end.
Okay.
Because they flash different things and different headlines and different things that went on, and Alex kind of narrates a lot of it.
Alex Little is our attorney.
Yes, he narrates a lot of it, but it's a lot of people don't understand it. So at the end, there's going to be a website where people are actually going to be able to dig around. So for those of you who love to go down rabbit holes, and we all know a lot of people love to go down rabbit holes, you're going to be able to do that. You're going to be able to actually see documents. And when there was something said, okay, this was said here, this is the document that substantiates it. Because they have done a lot of fact checking.
I think they've done all the fact checking.
Well, I don't know if you can do all. There's always going to be something. But I think they have done an amazing job of fact checking as much as they possibly can and putting a document with
a statement that's made.
Statement was said or to
dispel.
Dispel what was said. Okay, this was said, but this is actually the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of people will like that because people love that rabbit hole.
Well, so
if you will.
When I had my call with the production company, I was told that they're creating a website that at the end of this series, you will be the viewer, you will be able to go to that website, go to the library in there, and click on every document pertaining to this case.
Right.
And that it will show you.
Maybe not every document, but everything that's
relevant.
Yes.
Everything that's relevant to the case.
Yes.
You'll be able to click on and be able to read it and ascertain whatever you need to take from it. So I love that aspect of it because I've said be 100% transparent.
Right.
I think that what you as the viewers need to really be digging into is, where is the prosecutors in this case today? Where is Tommy Krepp, the lead prosecutor in this case who brought it, and where is Annalise Peters? They are no longer with the U.S. Attorney's Office. You need to dig into that. You need to ask why they're no longer there, because that's something that's important.
Right.
I think it's very important, which, the viewer doesn't know this yet. It's going to come out. I think it's very important for the world to know that it has now been referred back to the FBI for testimony that Mark Braddock gave at trial that he perjured himself on.
Right.
So that is now a formal referral from the U.S. Attorney in Atlanta, the Northern District, the same office that prosecuted us, has now made a formal referral to the FBI about the perjury of Mark Braddock in this case.
Right.
So I think that's huge.
Well, because I think that, and I haven't seen the immunity deal that was signed.
I have.
But I have to believe that you are supposed to be truthful, and you are there are ramifications if you are not truthful when given this immunity deal.
Well, Mark Braddock, according to what the representatives that were hired to go through all this stuff have told us, Mark Braddock lied 28 times in his interviews with the FBI. 28 times. The prosecutors knew he had lied, allowed him to come back and reword his statements.
Right.
Which was still a lie.
Right.
I loved that Savannah said last night when we were going to talk about the love affair.
Right.
Now this is an individual who got blanket immunity.
Right.
Could go in and say that he killed 1,000 babies and he was never going to be prosecuted. That he provided all these documents, which now some of them have been proven to be fraudulent, that he had literally cut and pasted, and that were emails that he provided to the government that AOL folks never even had. They clearly came just from his server, and emails that proved he had doctored emails that they found on his server. Mm-hmm. That he never doctored an email or a text message to back up this one-time sexual thing or love affair, whatever he called it. He never had a doctored text message.
Not a doctored text message. He never had a text message,
right,
period.
Never had an email. But what I'm saying is he didn't do any of that. And so for Savannah to say, as our attorneys did, where are the text communications between you and Todd regarding this relationship? Where's any letters, emails, phone recordings, photos? Where's any of it? It all came out last night that there was none.
Right.
And it all came, and it's going to come out to show that Mark tried to blackmail us when we found out he had embezzled all this money from us and that we were going to file criminal charges against him. That's when he came up with this, thinking he was going to embarrass us to keep us from filing the lawsuit against him. You didn't go for it then. We didn't go for it now. And we called his bluff. Where is this communication?
Right.
It doesn't exist. More importantly, what kind of wife does he have that would be okay, even if it were true, for him to go on a stand and say he's done this?
Right.
And 2 sons and grandchildren that he has shamed.
Right.
That tells you.
And we're not talking shaming because it's a man and a man. We're talking about shaming
betrayal.
because it's betrayal and it's cheating.
Absolutely.
Has nothing to do with the fact that it was 2 men. It would be the same whether it was another woman, whatever it is. Cheating is cheating.
But listen, if I was going to give head, I'd give it to myself because I know I'm clean.
Oh, my God.
I wouldn't be doing it to somebody else. So there's you another one to run with. Print that. But at the end of the day, Savannah outed that.
Right.
In this interview that you said was on
I think there's going to be so many things that if people will just take the time to look at this website that's going to be posted and look at the documents, if that's something that you are interested in, and, because it's all there. Mm-hmm. It's all going to be there, and you're going to be able to see it. Now, sometimes some people, it's not going to change your opinion.
No, because some people...
And that's okay.
And some people are still on this, you're a tax cheat. You need to pay attention. There was no money owed in taxes. that came out, and I'm going to release the recording of the IRS agent, Betty Carter.
Right.
I'm going to release that recording this week, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, on my Instagram, of Betty Carter's conversation with our accountant. After the conviction, folks, I made a mistake. The taxes had been paid. I did not see where they had been applied.
Right.
This is a woman who was in the tax division of high net worth, high profile individuals, their elite task force. And she didn't see a $500-something thousand tax payment that was made years ago.
Right.
You just let it sit there.
Yeah.
And then we want to talk about Trump wanting to, go in here and turn these organizations upside down. Whether it's Trump, Biden, or whoever, they need to be turned upside down when you've got this kind of incompetency.
Right.
And it's also to be noted that this same tax person, Betty Carter, went after Kim Zolciak and Croy Bierman.
Right.
She was looking, because she's from Atlanta, she wanted to create a name for herself because she had been this very homely, low-level tax employee who was looking to climb the ladder. And she wanted that notoriety. If you remember in court, the day in the courtroom, she gets up to leave and she goes, "This has been so fun. This has been so interesting." How do you say this has been fun when you're literally watching a family be torn apart?
Right.
That tells you what you're dealing with. So, I'm going to release that recording, but
we all know there's a reason why Chrisley knows best. Just like there's a reason why Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. With over $25 billion recovered for over 500,000 clients, Morgan & Morgan has a proven track record of fighting to get you full and fair compensation. In Florida, a client received $12 million after the insurance company's best offer was $350,000. In Pennsylvania, a client was awarded $26 million, a staggering 40 times the insurance company's original offer of $650,000. A recent client in Pennsylvania just received $29 million. Insurer's best offer was $500,000. Another recent client in Florida received $20 million. The last offer was $0. If you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. And for more information, go to forthepeople.com/Chrisley or dial pound law. That's pound 529 from your cell phone. That's forthepeople.com/Chrisley or pound law, pound 529 from your cell. This is a paid advertisement. Let's be honest, we all blame the dog, but sometimes it's the kids, sometimes it's you with the wine glass. Either way, the Green Mitt Kit from Clean Safe Products is the easiest way to keep your fabrics looking brand new in 5 minutes or less. The process is simple. Spray the solution, wipe, rinse the mitt, and repeat. If you can clean a kitchen counter, you can clean your couch. It works on carpets, couches, car seats, wool rugs, delicate upholstery, even dry clean only materials. Avoid the nightmare bleach spots or harsh chemical sprays in your living room. The Green Mitt Kit is non-toxic, fragrance-free, and made with just 3 ingredients. And because it's soap-free, there's no sticky residue, so stains don't magically reappear the next day. It's safe for kids, pets, and every soft surface you love. It removes the spots and the stress that comes with having nice things in a messy household. And it lasts forever. 1 bottle of concentrate makes up to 16 full-size bottles of the soft surface cleaner. Try it risk-free. Clean Safe Products offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked. Go to cleansafeproducts.com/Chrisley to get $15 off the Green Mitt Kit. That's cleansafeproducts.com/Chrisley for $15 off the world's easiest soft surface cleaning solution. You're going to love this. I absolutely love it. I keep my bottle around all the time because there is always a spill in my house. So go to cleansafeproducts.com/Chrisley.
I think that so much of this is that people literally just want to hate. And that goes back to...
Yeah, I have to say this. Because, and anybody that follows us and that listens to this podcast knows I'm not one to look at comments and do that whole thing. I just don't. I never have. She
never has.
From the beginning of Chrisley Knows Best, I have never been one to do that.
And that's healthy.
Yeah, it is. But I got an email from somebody yesterday, some man that I
Do you
did
have
not
the email?
know. No, I got rid of it. I don't keep that in my.
I didn't. I want to give him credit for that. Let's just put this out here.
From somebody that I don't even know.
No, and whose name is probably not real, by the way. Robert Delato. He says, your story is not compelling, MAGA.
Right.
It is it's absolutely insane that every good thing we've done in our life comes down to who signed our pardon. It's diminished by who signed our pardon.
Right.
And as I've said before, and as I will say again, there is not one incarcerated individual in this country, Democrat, liberal, Republican, that if President Donald J. Trump walked into that prison and said, guys, setting up a booth over here for all the individuals that want me to sign their pardon, want to bet there's every person there is a taker?
Absolutely.
It's amazing how when he can do something for you that benefits you, he's a great president. But when you are not getting the same preference or whatever, he's a piece of shit. Well, isn't that the way it is in every president?
Everything. And it's the way it is with most everything.
If Biden wasn't doing what the Republicans wanted, he was a piece of shit.
Right.
If Trump doesn't do what the Democrats want, he's a piece of shit.
Right.
Why can't we meet in the middle?
Right. Well, that's never going to be. It's just,
but if you really believe that it's never going to be, then you got to give up on humanity.
No, I don't give up on humanity, but there's always, and on a whole nother level, I witnessed this in prison so many times. Like, if one person had a certain chip that somebody else didn't get, they were like mad as could be. Or somebody got a
entitlement. Yeah, somebody
got a makeup palette and we ran out of them and the other person didn't get it. They were going to just create this whole big scene, And so I think it's with every walk of life and it's horrible. It's horrible.
I feel like that, we were told last week that a lot of the hatred that we're getting is because of our pardon and President Trump being the one who signed the pardon. He's the only one that could sign the pardon.
Right. And thank you so much for it.
Thank you so much for that. We're grateful to you, President Trump.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that I feel any differently today about my beliefs than I did before he signed the pardon.
Absolutely. And it doesn't mean that I feel any differently about my friends who are Democrats.
Exactly, because we have as many friends that are Democrats as we do Republicans.
Yeah, probably more.
Right.
I do.
And I feel like that for me, that I look at this as saying, you literally cannot be happy for a family being reunited.
Yeah.
Your hatred for President Trump is so deep-seated that you want to destroy every good thing that he has done.
Right.
And this is a good thing for our family.
Yeah.
We're back together.
Right.
I'm grateful to God.
Yes.
I am grateful to God that he placed President Trump in that office and that he had a listening ear, that he had a heart of compassion,
right.
that he was willing to listen to our daughter.
Absolutely.
I'm grateful for that.
Absolutely.
And I think people need to do their research to find out how many people of color President Trump is helping.
Right.
How many did President Biden help?
Right.
You need to remember all these pardons that he claims that he did. I was in prison with these men that were granted clemency, but he didn't grant them that kind of clemency. They had to stay in prison.
Yeah. A lot of
them still stayed in the prison where I was at. They were granted clemency, but they were still there.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Still there when I left. Mm-hmm. President Trump, when he signs that paper, your ass is going home.
Right.
So let's call it what it is.
Right.
I don't want to debate with people over what your political beliefs are, and just like
right.
you don't want to debate with me over what mine are. But let me be very clear on what some of my beliefs are. I believe in God. Mm-hmm. I believe in church. I believe that we as a people have an obligation to love one another. I believe we're supposed to help our brothers and sisters when they're down. I believe in proper borders. I believe that our country should serve our people. Our tax dollars should serve our people. And people that come here, immigrants that come to our country, we are a country that was set up and built on the backs of immigrants. We should open our doors to people that are coming from countries that are in need, that are suffering abuse, that are looking for a better life. We should have that door be opened for those individuals, done the legal way. If you're going to sit here and say, oh, well, you didn't pay your taxes, but you're not going to say this person entered illegally, you're a hypocrite. You don't get to pick and choose what laws can be broken.
Right.
So, I believe in proper borders.
Right.
I also believe that as a Republican, that abortion is not for me. It is not something that I want to see happen in our family. But you know where I stand on this. It is a woman's right.
Absolutely.
It is her choice.
Absolutely.
And the federal government has no place in the bedroom of any woman with her body. I've said that.
Or any man and woman.
I've said that to you since we've been together. Mm-hmm. So that's where I would disagree with some of the policy. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that I think that President Trump is a bad president. I love him. I love what he's done for our family. I love what he's doing in our country. I love what the tariffs are doing. Even CNN is do you know when the Clinton News Network jumps in and says his tariffs are working? Mm-hmm. The deficit is falling, that, the economy is thriving. When they say it, now you listen to CNN when they're talking trash about him, but when they start talking good about him and about his policies working, where are you now? Right. I'm not sitting here saying that President Trump is not going to make mistakes. There were mistakes made in the first administration, but those mistakes should have happened if he had not had so many people within the organization that were betraying him right and left. So you got to be careful about who you're doing business with. I'm proof of that. You've got to be careful about who you say is in your inner circle.
Right.
So I just feel like that, I had a message that's on my Instagram right now. I can pull it up and read it to you. Got it this morning. Mr. Chrisley, I want you to know that my heart breaks for your family. I am a Democrat. I do not believe in your political belief. We don't share the same political beliefs. And I hate President Trump. But I love what he did for your family. God bless you.
Right.
Folks, that's how we're supposed to respond to each other. We don't have to agree on everything for me to love you. Right. You don't have to wear red because I'm wearing red. I don't have to wear blue because you're wearing blue. I think if people really knew what was in our hearts and what was in our home, it would shift that momentum a little bit.
Right.
Because I am proud to say that we are a family that is filled with love. We don't go out here and try to harm people.
Right.
We're not out here trying to find comfort in someone else's pain. As a matter of fact, we're the ones that people come to with their pain. They bring their pain on us to try to get us to help them solve it or to work through it. If I have ever offended someone, in anything that I have ever said or done, I've apologized for it.
Right.
If it is something that I believe in, I apologize that it bothers you that I believe this way, but it is my right to believe this way. I don't want my beliefs to infringe upon someone else's household, nor do I want theirs to infringe upon mine.
Right.
I want to get along. Right. I mean, I hate to sound, like
kumbaya, but
and I hate to sound like, can't we all just get along? But can't we all just get along? Can't we be kinder to each other? Can't we be more supportive of each other? Can't we build each other up and support people's dreams, even if they're not your dream? You don't have to support it, but you don't have to tear it down either.
Every hardworking American family deserves financial security, especially in today's uncertain economic climate. We're Todd and Julie Chrisley, and on Chrisley Confessions 2.0, we're all about family and future. Like you, we believe in protecting our legacy and preparing for tomorrow. That includes making smart choices about our finance. You've likely built your retirement on paper dollars, a currency that simply doesn't hold its value like it used to. Meanwhile, inflation quietly erodes your family's future with each passing day. But there's a time-tested way to protect what you've earned. Genesis Gold Group offered us the financial protection that forward-thinking Americans need today. They showed us how the current monetary system puts our hard-earned savings at risk, while physical gold has maintained value through every economic crisis in history. We're converting our retirement to physical gold because our family's security must be built on something real, something that can't be devalued by forces beyond our control. Don't let another day pass without securing what you've worked so hard to build. Sensible families like ours are taking control of their financial future. Visit ChristleyLovesGold.com today for your free Family Wealth Protection Gold Guide and join thousands of Americans who protected their legacy with real assets. That's ChristleyLovesGold.com, where families preserve what matters most.
People need to be allowed to live their lives in peace and harmony. And I don't believe that this administration is trying to do anything to alter that. I just believe that the voters have voted. The people have spoken. They've come back and said, we don't want all this immigrants here illegally. So you're hating on President Trump, but 80% of the vote was on his platform to deport illegal aliens. And so I think that if you're hating on someone, it's your next door neighbor. It's your people in church. It's the people that you work with, because more people voted for him than didn't. So there's many people.
So we've had our political. So you've had your political spiel today.
But I'm trying to have this. It's not a spiel. I'm trying to help people understand where we are as a family, and that we have no shame.
Right.
And how our pardon came about.
Right, absolutely.
And that we're grateful for President Trump. And that, yes, we're taking a lot of heat for it right now.
Right.
But we're okay with taking that heat.
Right.
So that's all I wanted to say.
Right, because at the end of the day, we're free.
As Chase says, you can talk shit, but you're going to talk shit to a free man. So a prime example, coming through the airport in Nashville this week, bringing mama home.
Right.
This woman comes down the walkway. Now, folks.
I wasn't there.
Folks, you got to know that God was with me, because all of y'all that has ridden this train with me since day one know who I am deep, 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 deep down. This very liberal, poorly dressed, hair was a situation on its own, but I'm not going to go there. Comes by, looks at me and mama, and she goes, criminals. And I turned and looked at her, and Chase was coming up the walk, and I knew because you know how crazy he can get. I knew if I went off on her, that was just going to be like pouring gas on the fire. And so I just looked at her and I said, you're trash. And pushed mama away. In a different situation, to where my mother wasn't present.
Right, but two wrongs don't make it right.
It wouldn't have, but it would have made a hell of a headline, and I would have given it to you. But the fact that you have someone that brazen that will come up and say something like that to you.
Right, but you know what? That doesn't faze me in the least, because guess what? I was walking off a plane, and it wasn't Con Air. I've been there, done that. I was walking to my car, not a police car. I wasn't handcuffed. I wasn't shackled. And I was going to my home. So
I was doing all the same things, but I still wanted to be like, but I didn't. Because God had a hold of me that day.
Well, I don't know, but because your mouth and your emotions today are not being very godly, so I'm just saying.
Then let me apologize, God. I ask that you step into the rest of this podcast and you temper my tongue and my heart.
Okay, good.
Now let's see if he responds. He might be.
You said to Chase, you can't keep apologizing for the same thing over and over.
I'm not apologizing. What I said was the truth.
Well, you can't.
So tell me what else is that regarding the podcast, the episodes that you felt was compelling.
I don't know. I mean, that was pretty much. That was 4 of them. We got to wait for a next one.
Well, but I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there about Savannah and your dad.
Yes.
About the friction between them.
Yes.
So, as his daughter, what do you have to say about that?
I don't even know what to say, honestly.
I think you have to be honest with it. Just
I think
how you feel. What is your perspective?
Well, listen, it makes me sad because that is my dad and that is my daughter. Mm-hmm. As you've said throughout this last podcast and this one, everybody processes their pain differently. Mm-hmm. I hope that they can come to common ground, and I hope that they can find a place, because that is her grandfather, mm-hmm. that is his granddaughter. So I'm very conflicted about it. So I have truly been in prayer over it. I have to say, because I don't know. I don't even know. Do you feel that Savannah that there's validity in her anger? Absolutely, I do. I feel like there's some validity in it, because, and I think my dad was up front. He said, I have failed you. I have failed you. And he said, I have, this pain that I experienced after my brother passed, that I've kind of just, replaced it, if you will, with Chase, which is not healthy and not healthy. Now, she's talking about her. She's not saying that she replaced it. You're saying that your dad is saying he replaced the loss of your brother with the substitution of our son, Chase. Yes. And that's not fair. It's not fair for Chase to have to take on that. Mm-hmm. And it's just not fair, the whole situation. Well, I look at it from the perspective of, and when I say this, you're going to know that I've already said it. I feel like that in some situations, less is more. Right. And that I was not in favor once I found out that this had been aired on, and she had said some of the things that she had said. Right. I was not in favor of that, because I felt like, out of respect for you, as her mother, that should have, if you want to call him out for not being there for you and not being the grandfather that he should have been, then that should have been done off camera. Right. But wasn't my choice. I didn't get to make it. I don't get to feel her hurt. I don't get to feel her pain. I don't get to feel how she feels. I don't know how she feels. I know how she says that she feels. Right. That everything was done for Chase, nothing was done for her. And it really has been that way her whole life. Right. Right. It has. And so I think that that's accumulated from childhood on, because let's just face it, your dad is not noted for building women up. Your dad is from a whole other different generation. Right. And, he's Southern Baptist. He's a pastor. Your mother has been in that submissive role your whole life. Yes. She was the first lady of the church. She was, making sure that she was there when the doors were open, running a full-time job. She had her defined role as a woman from a biblical standpoint, and your dad was basically the pastor. Mm-hmm. That was not how we ran our household. Right. I remember when you and I first got together, you fell in that same role of fixing my plate. Right. And what did I say to you? No, I can do my own. I said, That's all I knew. Right. I said, I don't need you fixing my plate. I can do my own. Right. Because I didn't want you to ever feel disrespected of thinking that you were my servant. Right. I understand what submission means in the Bible. Right. But the Bible says that a wife shall be submissive to her husband, and so shall her husband be submissive to his wife. Absolutely. There's two sides to that. And I love submitting to you in certain areas. Yeah. Well, but I didn't have that need. Right. For you to do and it was a different generation. Absolutely. And I think it was a completely different generation. And that's the point I'm trying to drive home. Yes. That if you are raised in a certain way, and that's all you ever know, it's all you ever know to teach. Right. You can't teach what you don't know. Right. And Savannah was brought up in a household that was not ran that way. Right. Savannah grew up with a mother who was independent,
who was self-sufficient for the most part because you ran your real estate business, as you said to Chase yesterday. You need to understand, I worked. I ran that real estate company. I paid your school tuition. I paid for extracurricular activities.
Yeah.
I bought your clothes. Your dad covered all the other bills. I took care of this. So she grew up with a woman doing that.
Right.
You grew up with a woman who did all the things that we just talked about.
Right.
So you, for the most part, you had to relearn.
Yes.
What you wanted to be as a woman.
Right.
Savannah is the direct product of what she saw you become.
Right. Absolutely.
So she can't adhere to Harvey's fire and brimstone. I am man. I run this house. Let me grab my woman by the hair of the head and pull her in the cave.
Right.
And that's not being taken literally. So she's at a different place in her life.
Right.
And she interprets things differently.
Right.
And Savannah looks at it that she has been disappointed by the men in her life that she has dated, whether it be cheating or not paying their fair share or leeching off of her or whatever. And so that's
or just not being there emotionally,
and not being there for her emotionally. She had to be there for them emotionally.
Right.
Let me tell you something. Our generation have raised some weak ass men.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. You want to talk about these women out here being bull dicks and, running there. They got to be the man of the house. Yeah, because you ain't raised a son that can be the man of the house.
Yeah.
I'm watching it every day. I get on to Chase and say, I'm a grown-ass man. Grown-ass men don't tell other grown-ass men you're a grown-ass man. They know it by the way you live.
Right.
So I think for Savannah and this whole situation with Harvey, listen, I don't agree with nothing that Harvey says. Harvey has been a good father-in-law from the standpoint of he was never involved in our marriage. He did not stick his nose where it was not wanted. I don't agree with the way that he has handled Chase, but you don't either.
Right.
And we've said that for years.
Yes.
We've voiced it that you're creating a situation here that is making him weak.
Yes.
But you just said Harvey has acknowledged he did that because he needed to substitute the loss of his son with ours.
Right.
But I do understand where Savannah's coming from the resentment from all these years.
Right.
But I have gone 30 years and never had a crossword with your mom and daddy.
Right.
I don't agree with what they do. I don't agree with what they say. They don't agree with what I do and what I say.
Right.
But we have been able to coexist in a very peaceful, somewhat, I would say 95% peaceful coexistence over the course of our marriage.
Right.
I'm just not going to start now.
Right.
At 57, cursing your dad out for stupid shit that he says.
Right.
Or things that he does.
Right.
Because he's got his house, I got mine.
Right.
I'm not doing that because I have too much respect for you as his daughter.
Right.
And I'm not going to watch you cry.
Right.
I don't want to see you sad.
Right.
And I know this makes you sad.
Right.
And I have told our kids that this makes you sad.
Right.
And you know how I get when I see that you're sad.
Right.
When she gets sad, I get mad.
Right.
And I don't know how to process it any other way other than to be angry and to want to go fist fight someone. So I apologize to you.
Right. Well, and there's no apology. It's not for you to apologize. It's really, I appreciate it, but it's really not. It is what it is. And my dad is 75 years old. He's not going to change.
Right.
He's not going to change the way that he thinks, the way that he is. He's just not. Not that makes it right or wrong.
No, because that is let's touch on that for a second. That is part of some of the issues that you have at times.
Right.
Over a certain level of built up resentment.
Right.
I know I feel it with my mother at times over how she's handled certain situations in my life. And it's hard when you know you've tried to be the best that you can be.
Right.
And you don't get recognition for that.
Right.
Which is some of what Savannah's issues are right now.
Right.
I feel that way with my mother because I've done everything for my mother.
Right.
I mean, I've taken, I took care of my parents when I moved them to Atlanta because I had you. You were able, I was able to financially do it. You were able to physically do the stuff that needed to be done for them. Mm-hmm. You have continued that up until today, as of this morning. Sometimes you just want to be seen.
Right. Yeah.
You just want to be acknowledged for what you have done.
Absolutely.
And you've never gotten that.
Right.
And I think that you've carried a lot of that resentment forward. And Savannah is feeding off of some of that now, just because of some of the things that she's said. Right. And I think that unresolved issues continue to fester, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Well, I know that, the scene, and they showed clips of this of it was at a meal that they were having where my dad is like, well, you've done all this and nothing's happened. Okay, well, first of all, he wasn't privy to everything that was going on behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. She didn't tell him every single thing that she was doing, every conversation that was had.
She couldn't trust him.
And it was also a matter of, why say it if you don't? She didn't know it to be true. Right. There was no guarantee. All she could do was put the information out there and hope that the right people saw it, and hope that it tugged at heartstrings and that they saw through what was actually going on and what had gone on. But she wasn't going to say that to him until she knew, until it was a done deal. Because I think it set you up for heartbreak. It set you up to, and I just don't think.
Well, I think that there is a part of that. But I also think that she is so angry with him and so resentful.
Right.
That she didn't feel like she owed him anything at that point.
Right.
And so there's a lot of that.
Right.
I agree with you that yes, there's a large part of that, because she has said that to me about you.
Right.
I'm not telling Mom this because I don't know if it's going to happen.
Right.
And I don't want her to get her hopes up.
Right.
And I'm like, well, why don't you treat me that way? Daddy, you can handle it.
Right.
So I think that for you, again, my heart breaks because it's not my mom and daddy on there that's getting this. I mean, a prime example was that, your feelings were hurt yesterday because you said, they made it look like my parents are freeloading off of Chase.
Right.
And that's not the case.
No.
Your parents, that's their townhouse that Chase and Jody are living in.
Right. Yeah.
It's not the other way around.
Right.
So you were hurt over that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit back and watch you get hurt over a lie just because someone's ego is so fragile that they don't want to acknowledge the truth.
Right.
Chase was living with his grandparents.
Yes.
It was not the other way around.
Right.
And so your grandmother, his grandmother, Pam, you came back and told me that she was offended by that. Mm-hmm. She should be, because that's not the truth.
Right. Yeah.
And then there were comments made that
Chase would give them money and stuff, but that was their place. And, and if he hadn't given them money, he would have still had a place to live.
Exactly. And so, we're not going to come on here and bullshit our way through a conversation.
Right.
We're not going to worry about hiding this and hiding that. We're going to call it what it is.
Right.
But I think in order for there ever to be for there to ever be a meeting of the minds with your dad has to acknowledge the things that he has done.
Right.
He has to acknowledge the things that he should have done that he didn't do.
Right.
And he has to learn how to say, I'm sorry.
Right.
And that's not just, he wants me to say, I'm sorry that you went to prison.
Right.
I didn't put you in prison.
Right.
You know that. That's all I care about.
Right.
You know the truth.
Right.
And so, and he knows that.
Right.
He knows that. But he needs someone to blame.
Right.
Because he's just an angry man whose heart was destroyed when his son died. Mm-hmm. And he has numbed himself to everything else in the world just by shutting everyone out.
Right.
So it's repressed pain, and that comes from Trey. Right. I want to say I understand it, but you can't understand it until you've gone through that.
No, you can't.
So I give grace for all of that.
Right.
Your mother is a bitter woman right now because she lost a son, and then her daughter was taken away.
Right.
How can she not be angry at the world?
Right.
But at the end of the day, I don't shoulder that. That's not my burden to shoulder, because I know I didn't cause that.
Right.
I know I did everything in my power to prevent you from going to prison.
Right.
You were the one who said, when they tried to offer me a plea for you to walk away, and you said, my husband hasn't done anything. We're not accepting a plea of guilty for nothing we didn't do. So, folks, she was never going to be prosecuted. She said, my husband is not going to admit to something he did not do. So you stood up for that. I didn't do that. So at the end of the day, we are where we are. what's happened has happened. We're going to move forward. It's up to the people around us as to whether or not they want to stay in that same position or whether or not they want to move forward with us.
Right. So, I think we've had a recap of those 4. Now, I don't know what these next 4 are going to be.
Right.
I really don't. You will see us in one episode, I believe, as far as just...
I think 1 or 2,
Yeah.
as far as, I think 2.
Maybe 2.
That's what they told me it was 2.
Right, but we will definitely recap it, and I'll let you know. So I don't know that I think it's going to go up from here. I think it's on this trajectory to go up from here. That's what I'm hoping, because... Whew, it's been a lot these last couple days.
But, it's not all bad.
No.
It's not. I think that the things that are being said needed to be said.
Right.
And now you can start healing.
Right.
Once you say it, now the next phase starts. It's the healing process.
Absolutely.
And I'm ready to heal.
Yeah.
I'm tired of hurting. I'm ready to heal.
Right.
So we'll move off of that. I will answer a couple of questions that I got regarding FPC Pensacola. I was notified this past week that Dr. Dennis Proffitt was placed on leave. This is the man who has abused so many men there at Pensacola. The director of the Bureau of Prisons, William Marshall, made the decision that it was time for him to go and put him on. It's called being put on the streets while you're under investigation. So he has been placed under investigation. I also have been made aware that Hackett is no longer going to be with the Bureau of Prisons. I am aware that Kennedy is under investigation now. That the warden has officially retired and has taken a position with the state correctional prison in Alabama.
Oh, great.
Yes.
So let's
Sherry Salisbury is now working for the prison system in the state of Alabama. So I'm going to reach out to Tommy Tuberville to ask for assistance to make sure that he knows that this woman, that her record follows her.
Right.
So, because what she did to men in the federal system, she'll be worse in the state.
Right.
So I'm going to make sure that I reach out and that I make sure that her record follows her so that when the complaints come in, they will be ready for them because they're coming in.
Right.
Abusers don't just stop abusing.
Right.
She's been doing it her whole BOP career.
Right.
She's lied in investigations. She's had multiple infractions. So at the end of the day, I'm going to reach out to make sure that the governor of Alabama and Tommy Tuberville knows that she is now working in your state for one of your correctional facilities and that this woman is an abuser. So I'm working on that now.
I think we need to say that I know I talked to someone yesterday that the FSA is starting to get implemented.
That's
there
correct.
Are men
under
and women
William K. Marshall and Pam Bondi
who are starting to go home when, now granted, some of them should have already been home, but at least things are happening in a positive way. And I think, we have to, thank Director Marshall and
you have to
Josh,
and you have to give credit to Rick Stover, who is running this FSA right now.
Right, and who has developed this task force to truly implement what President Trump
put in 2018.
So I think that's good because anytime somebody can go home, there was literally, I talked to someone yesterday, their date was end of 26. So sometime, I think it was December of 26 was her date. Then when they told her she would go home, she's going home next month in October. That gives me cold chills.
I know.
That is like 14 months. And that is 14 months that she is going to get to be with her son that she hasn't been with in years. So I love that. That's like a praise report. It really is.
It does my heart good because you came to me yesterday with that and I said, that's because of what Rick has implemented with the task force.
Absolutely.
And there's now 6,000 more people that's being audited right now to go through these cases to make that have shown red flags.
Right. And so it again shows all the work, especially that you're doing, because this is your passion project. This is your wheelhouse. Yes, I'm here to assist, and I have, but this is you, and I think
Well, I thank you for that, but we've got to go back and say that for all of you Trump haters out there, a lot of Democrats are being released under FSA.
But this is my thing. Have you, and all the people that you are continuing to help and that have helped, I've never asked what one political affiliation. We're not going down that rabbit hole again.
I don't need it. I've had some say to me that I appreciate your help. I mean, because I'm a Democrat, and I said, well, you're my brother in Christ.
Right. And
God doesn't God does not care who you registered to vote with.
So it is, it does make your heart feel good. And it does say, okay, those 28 months were not in vain. And we've said that many, many times.
That's right. And I think that it's important to know that you're dealing with a Bureau of Prisons that has been broken for decades.
Right.
And now you have one man, William Marshall, who's the director, and then Josh Smith, who is the deputy director. These two men, I am blown away that they're out in the streets every day.
Yeah.
They are visiting a facility every week. They're out there visiting a different facility. Yeah. They're calling these staff on the carpet. They're saying, if you are not adhering to BOP policy, if you are treating these men and women inhumanely, if you are not feeding them correctly, you will not be with the Bureau of Prisons. Right. I love that. Yeah. I know that I got a call yesterday from one of my kids in Kentucky, Ashland, Kentucky, Aaron, and he told me that the director was there yesterday and that he was looking over that facility. Well, that facility needs to be looked over. They know they've got a problem there. They know they've got a warden that is not holding his staff accountable. They know that the warden needs to clean his house up. Right. They know that there's corrupt staff there, from Dean, Reed, several of the other ones that I could go into naming. I understand that Dean doesn't like me naming his name, and I'm going to say that I'm not going to mention Dean's name again because Dean doesn't want me mentioning Dean as his name. But I will continue to be a voice for those that do not have a voice, or that is not allowed to have their voice heard. So it does my heart good to see you come to me and say, oh my God, one of my friends that she had another year, but now she's going home in a month. That made me feel good. And I looked at you and smiled. I said, Rick Stover.
Yeah.
Task force.
Yeah.
The FSA is starting to work.
Yeah,
these are the things that we want to talk about.
Yep.
And, for the BOP that listens to this podcast, I know you get tired of me trashing you, but this is a good day for the folks with the BOP, because what you've promised me that you're going to do is what President Trump wanted to see done in 2018. He came back into the Oval Office with a fight in his heart and his spirit and said, you will implement this FSA. I mean, Jared Kushner, who was such an advocate for the FSA, who is checking in weekly. Is this being done? Are these policies being adhered to? This man is a multi-billionaire. He doesn't need this shit. He's got a beautiful wife, beautiful children. He can do whatever he wants to do, but he's checking in every week, making sure this stuff is being done.
Yeah.
You've got an Attorney General, Pam Bondi, who is literally breathing down the necks of the director of the Bureau of Prisons. What's your report? I need a report on my desk. I need to know what you're doing. How many of these men and women have y'all calculated? Is it being done correctly? You've got a woman that, whether you like her or not, she's not everyone's cup of tea. I know it's shocking what my next statement's going to be. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. But she stands on business.
Right.
And she is literally there to make sure that what the president and the White House pushes out, she administers.
Right.
If it's legal, she's supposed to do it, and she's doing that. So I have hope for the men and women that have been left behind. You're coming home sooner than you think.
That's right.
For those of you that are lifetime offenders or that have been sentenced to life for rape, for child molestation, for murder, that is something that God will forgive you for. You have to go to him and repent for that sin. It's not something that society at this point is comfortable with. And I hope we never get comfortable with it, because I believe in prisons. And I believe if you are physically harming someone, that you're abusing someone, that you're sexually assaulting someone, that you've murdered someone, you need to be locked away. And I'm okay if that's for life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of where I am.
So, folks, you have been to church with Todd today, minus a few ugly words. And
I'm going to try to get
gestures.
better, because she gets so upset when I say the F word, and it feels so freeing to me.
So, until next week, Good luck and God bless.
God bless you.